Part 1: The Unspoken Memory. Twin Flame and Past Lives. The journey that spans lifetimes. Soft ambient music fades in, a blend of ethereal tones and slow heartbeat rhythm. A woman's calm, resonant voice begins to narrate. Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt something ancient? Something that words could never capture, as if in that single gaze time folded in on itself? Not love at first sight, not attraction, something deeper. A pulse that vibrates beneath the skin. A whisper that says, "I've known you before." You try to shake it off to convince yourself it's imagination, chemistry, coincidence. But every time your eyes meet, your body remembers what your mind has forgotten. There's a strange familiarity, a calm within the storm, and sometimes an ache, like the echo of a promise once made in another lifetime. That's where the story begins. Not in this lifetime, not in this body, but in the silent archives of your soul. They say souls are eternal. They don't die, they only change form, traveling from one life to another, learning, healing, evolving. And sometimes they travel together. Twin flames are not just two people falling in love. They are two expressions of one soul, split into two bodies, each carrying a fragment of divine consciousness, journeying across the fabric of time. Every incarnation they meet again. Sometimes as lovers, sometimes as enemies, sometimes as teacher and student, to complete what was left unfinished. This is why when you meet your twin flame, it never feels like the beginning. Feels like remembering. Let's pause for a moment. Close your eyes and think of that one person who awakened something unexplainable within you. You can't rationalize it. You might have tried to move on, to forget, to make sense of it, but the energy remains. Like a melody you can't stop humming, even when you no longer remember the lyrics. That connection, could it be something more than coincidence? Could it be the continuation of an ancient love story, written not in ink but in light? In many spiritual traditions, it's believed that when souls are ready to grow, they choose their lives before birth. They choose their families, their circumstances, and even the souls they will meet, especially those who will challenge them the most. Because growth doesn't come from comfort, comes from friction. And no connection brings more friction and more transformation than a twin flame reunion. Imagine this. In one lifetime you may have been torn apart by war. In another, you were forbidden lovers in a society that couldn't understand. In yet another, you betrayed one another, not out of malice but out of fear. Each lifetime leaves behind energetic imprints, emotions unresolved, promises broken, lessons unlearned. Those fragments travel with you, hidden within the vibration of your soul. And when you meet again, they rise to the surface, demanding to be seen, healed, and transformed. That's why meeting your twin flame can feel both heavenly and unbearable at the same time. It's like standing in front of a mirror that reflects not only who you are, but who you've been across centuries. When you meet your twin flame, there's a spark of recognition that defies logic. You may say to yourself, "I just met them, but why do I feel like I've known them all my life? Why do they feel so familiar, even though we've just exchanged a few words?" And sometimes it's not even words. It's the silence between you that speaks the loudest. Your soul recognizes before your mind does. It remembers the laughter from another era, the tears you once shed, the vows whispered under starlit skies long before you were born this time. It's not fantasy. It's resonance, the vibration of two halves of one energy field aligning once again. You see, your soul carries memory, but it's not the kind of memory stored in your brain. It's stored in your frequency, in the subtle field of energy that surrounds you, the part of you that existed long before your physical body. This is why certain encounters trigger intense emotions you can't explain. Your body reacts as if it remembers even when your mind doesn't. The shaking hands, the racing heart, the tears that appear without warning. They are signs that your energetic body has recognized a pattern, a face, a vibration from another life. Some people call it destiny, others call it karma. But perhaps it's both, two sides of the same coin. Destiny is the path your soul longs to walk. Karma is the energy that needs to be balanced before you can walk it freely. And your twin flame is the catalyst. They appear to awaken both, to remind you of who you truly are. and to help you release what you no longer need to carry. It's not always romantic. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's chaotic. But beneath it all, there's purpose. The purpose is remembrance. Imagine two travelers separated by time. In one life, they find each other too soon. In another, too late. But the longing continues, not out of attachment but out of divine design. Because through each reunion they rediscover not only one another, but themselves. The soul says, I will meet you again. In every lifetime, in every form, until we both remember that we were never truly apart. And that remembrance, that deep trembling awareness, is the essence of the twin flame connection. Maybe that's why your meeting felt so significant. Maybe that's why the timing was strange, the circumstances impossible, and yet you knew. Because you've met before. In different bodies. Under different skies. With different names. But the energy was the same. So, if you've ever asked yourself, why do I feel drawn to this person, even when it doesn't make sense? Why can't I forget them, even when logic tells me I should? Why does this connection feel fated even if it's full of pain? The answer might not lie in this life. It might lie in the lifetimes you've shared before. The vows you made, the lessons left undone, the promises whispered through tears. Your meeting is not random. It is the universe orchestrating an ancient reunion. One that serves not just romance but evolution. Because love at its highest vibration is not about possession or permanence. It's about remembrance and release. When two twin flames meet, the soul stirs awake. It whispers through intuition, through synchronicities, through dreams. It speaks in the language of déjà vu and divine timing. It says, you've been here before. You've walked this path. And now you have another chance not to repeat it but to transcend it. In the stillness of that realization, something shifts. You begin to see beyond this lifetime, beyond the stories, beyond the names, beyond the roles. You start to sense the infinite dance of the soul. A dance that's been unfolding for centuries, for millennia. And you realize that what you thought was an ending or a beginning is simply a continuation of a love that never truly stopped. Breathing. Soft music rises. A single piano note echoes like a heartbeat in the void. 'Cause maybe, just maybe, you didn't meet them by accident. Maybe you remembered them. And maybe, in this life, your soul whispered one final request to the universe before you were born. Let me meet them again. Just once more. So that this time I can love without fear, forgive without condition, and finally remember who I am. Part 2. The soul never dies, only changes form. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives, the journey that spans lifetimes. What if death was never an ending, but merely a pause? What if, beyond the moment our bodies fall silent, something eternal continues, carrying every memory, every lesson, every heartbeat we've ever known? The soul. It does not perish. It does not vanish into the void. It transforms. Ancient wisdom, from the temples of Egypt to the monasteries of Tibet, has whispered the same truth for millennia. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Every lifetime is a single chapter in an infinite book. A book that your soul has been writing long before your current name existed. And in this book, some souls appear again and again, because their stories are intertwined across time. Your twin flame is one of them. Some people believe that when the soul leaves the body, it passes through a process of reflection. It reviews its life, the moments of love, the choices made from fear, the words that healed and the ones that hurt. It feels everything, not as punishment but as understanding. Then, from that deep awareness, it decides what to experience next. It chooses a new body, a new family, a new era, all perfectly aligned with the lessons it still wishes to learn. And sometimes it chooses to meet the same soul again. Not because of attachment but because of evolution. Two souls, two flames from the same divine source, promising to meet again and again until they both return home to the fullness of love. Think of it this way. Energy cannot be destroyed, it only changes form. That's not philosophy. It's physics. The same energy that powers the stars also flows through your veins. When your body dies, that energy doesn't disappear. Simply moves, transforms, shifts vibration. The body returns to the earth, but the consciousness continues, expanding beyond dimensions. So if energy never dies, why would love, which is the highest frequency of energy, ever fade away? Love transcends lifetimes. It travels with the soul, coded into its vibration. And when two souls are born from the same divine spark, the twin flames, their energy is eternally magnetized to one another. Have you ever felt like you were born with an unexplainable longing? A kind of homesickness that has nothing to do with place, but with someone you can't quite remember. That longing is not weakness. It's remembrance. It's your soul whispering, "There's another part of me out there, somewhere in this vast universe." You may not remember the details, the faces, the names, the stories, but your heart remembers the vibration. Because energy always recognizes itself. Let's imagine for a moment. In one life, you and your twin flame could have been artists painting under the same sun, bound by a love that defied class, religion, or time. In another, you may have been siblings, partners, or even adversaries, souls reflecting each other's shadows so both could grow. And in yet another, one of you might have chosen to leave early, through war, illness, or sacrifice, planting a seed of unfinished love that would bloom again in a future lifetime. Each story different, each lifetime a mirror, each encounter an echo of the same truth. You are learning to love through every possible form. This is why some connections feel too big to fit inside a single lifetime. Why, when you meet your twin flame, you sense history pulsing between you. It's not just imagination. It's the memory of your souls weaving through countless incarnations. And often, those memories rise to the surface in unexpected ways. A song that makes you cry without knowing why. A scent that pulls you back to a place you've never visited. A dream so vivid you wake up trembling, convinced you've just lived another life in your sleep. These are not coincidences. They are ripples, fragments of energy from the soul's archive, resurfacing to remind you that time is not linear. The past, present, and future all coexist in the infinite now. And your twin flame connection is the bridge between them. But why would the soul choose to return over and over to the same energy? Why would it risk pain, separation, and heartbreak again? Because growth requires repetition, and mastery requires remembering. Every lifetime, the soul refines its ability to love. It learns to balance giving and receiving, to see beyond illusion, to embrace both the light and shadow within itself. Your twin flame is the mirror that accelerates this process. They reflect back to you all that still seeks healing. The fear of abandonment, the need for control, the wounds of betrayal. And through that reflection you evolve. You might think you're chasing love, but what you're really chasing is wholeness. The soul does not see things as right or wrong, success or failure. It only sees experience, vibration, evolution. If in one lifetime you betrayed your twin flame, your soul might choose to reverse roles in the next, to understand what it feels like to be on the other side. Not as punishment but as perspective. Through this divine exchange, both sides awaken compassion. Because true understanding doesn't come from theory. It comes from embodiment. You must become what you once judged in order to transcend it. And this is the essence of reincarnation. Not a cycle of endless suffering, but a spiral of continuous awakening. Each time you return, you're not starting over. You're returning at a higher octave, a more expanded version of the same song your soul has been singing since the beginning of time. So when you meet your twin flame and feel that overwhelming recognition, when your heart races and your mind can't explain why, know that it's not the first verse of your story. It's the continuation of a melody composed ages ago. Maybe in another life your eyes met in a crowded marketplace. Maybe you found each other across battle lines. Maybe you lost one another in the chaos of history. But love always leaves an imprint. And in this lifetime that imprint has drawn you together once more. The soul never dies. Only the form changes. Only the scenery shifts. But the consciousness, the awareness continues to expand life after life. Every lifetime adds new colors to the same painting. Every meeting adds another note to the same song. And when you finally meet your twin flame in this lifetime, it's not coincidence. It's completion. Completion of the lessons you began long ago. Completion of the karma, the promises, the wounds And most importantly, the remembrance of unconditional love. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Feel your heartbeat steady, ancient, familiar. That rhythm has echoed through every life you've ever lived. It's the sound of eternity moving through you. And if you listen closely enough, you might hear another heartbeat, faint but in perfect harmony with yours. Your twin flame walking somewhere across the world, living another version of the same divine journey. Two souls, one light, infinite lifetimes. Because love, true eternal love, never ends. It simply changes form, again and again, until both halves of the same soul remember that they were never truly separate to begin with. So if you ever wonder why your heart feels ancient, why your love feels both new and eternal, remember this. You are not meeting for the first time. You are remembering again. Part the signs you and your twin have met in a past life. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives, the journey that spans lifetimes. Have you ever met someone who made time disappear? Single. Conversation turns into hours, yet it feels like only minutes. Their presence feels strangely familiar, like walking into a home you've never been to, but somehow you already know where everything is. That's not coincidence. It's recognition, not of the mind but of the soul. Because long before your names were spoken in this lifetime, your energies have danced together in lifetimes past. When two souls have met before, their energy carries memory. A silent code imprinted in the aura. A vibration that awakens the moment you lock eyes again. The mind asks, "Who are you?" But the soul whispers, "You again finally." This is how the story begins for many twin flames. Not with fireworks or perfect timing, but with an unexplainable knowing that defies every rule of logic. Today, let's journey through the subtle yet profound signs that you and your twin have met in a past life. Not to satisfy curiosity, but to understand the sacred blueprint that has brought you here again. 1. The instant recognition. You meet and it feels like déjà vu. A warmth floods your chest, your stomach flutters, and for a brief moment everything around you blurs. You don't just see them, you remember them. You might even catch yourself saying, "It's like I've known you forever." Or you both laugh, realizing you share memories, dreams, or even fears that mirror one another's. This instant connection is not the spark of new love. It's the ignition of an ancient memory. Your souls recognize what your minds have yet to recall. 2. The magnetic pull. No matter how far you try to run, you can't. Something beyond logic pulls you back toward them. Like two magnets drawn by an invisible thread. Even when you're angry, even when you've walked away, the connection doesn't fade. You feel their energy in your dreams, in your thoughts, in the spaces between words. You can sense when they're sad, even without speaking. You wake up thinking of them for no reason at all. It's not obsession, it's resonance. A vibrational memory that spans centuries. In another life, you may have been lovers separated by war, or companions who made a vow to find each other again. That vow echoes through time, manifesting now as the irresistible pull that defies all logic. 3. The familiar eyes. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul. And for those who've shared lifetimes, those windows are instantly recognizable. The first time you look into their eyes, something deep inside you stirs. It's as if 1,000 unspoken words pass between you in silence. You can't look away and you don't want to, because behind that gaze you see echoes of who you once were together. The laughter shared, the tears shed, the goodbyes whispered under starlit skies. It's haunting yet comforting, like finding an old photograph of a love you never remembered taking. 4. Shared dreams and visions. Many twin flames experience shared dreams, not just symbolic ones, but detailed, vivid visions that feel real. You might dream of an ancient city, or see yourselves in different clothes, different bodies, yet somehow you both know it's you. Sometimes, these dreams appear as fragments. A battlefield, a dance hall, a familiar house by the sea. You wake up crying, or filled with longing you can't explain. These aren't just dreams, they are echoes. Memories resurfacing from another lifetime. Your subconscious reminding you of the story that's been unfolding across ages. And often your twin dreams the same dream. You both wake with the same image in mind. as if the soul is trying to synchronize your remembrance. 5. The intense emotional reaction. Ever met someone who instantly makes you feel safe, and at the same time, completely vulnerable? That paradox is a signature of past life connection. You feel joy so pure it terrifies you, or you feel anger, sadness, or fear that seems disproportionate to what's happening. Now, that's because the emotions aren't only from this life, they're residues from another. Maybe in a past incarnation you were betrayed, abandoned, or lost them too soon. Your body remembers even when your mind doesn't. That's why a single argument can feel like heartbreak. Why a moment of silence between you can feel like centuries of separation. These emotions surface so you can heal them, so you can finally free yourselves from the energetic wounds of the past. 6. The unspoken telepathy. You think of them, and they text you. You feel sad, and suddenly they reach out. You hum a song, and they post the same lyrics online. Coincidence? Maybe. But when it happens again and again, it becomes communication beyond words. Past life bonds create strong energetic pathways, a silent, telepathic link that transcends space and time. Even when you haven't spoken for months, you feel their energy shift. You sense when they're struggling, when they're awakening, when they're calling your name in silence. It's because you've been energetically entwined for lifetimes, and those invisible threads never fully break. 7. The strange synchronicities. Repeating numbers. Songs from decades ago playing at just the right moment. Meeting them on a day that holds significance for both of you, though neither of you could have planned it. These synchronicities are the universe's way of whispering, "You've done this before." In previous lives you may have met under similar signs, and now those same cosmic patterns reappear to remind you that destiny is cyclical. These moments aren't random. They are alignments, signposts guiding you back to the sacred path you left unfinished. 8. Shared physical memories. Some people discover that they and their twin flame share birthmarks in the same place, identical fears, or even similar health conditions. Energy leaves imprints on the body. When souls reincarnate, they sometimes carry subtle marks of past life. Trauma. A scar where a wound once was, a pain with no medical explanation. If you and your twin have mirrored experiences, like both fearing deep water without reason, or both having dreams about the same era, it may be your soul's way of saying, "This isn't our first story together." 9. The unfinished lesson. Every past life connection carries a theme, a lesson the souls agreed to learn. Maybe it's forgiveness. Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's learning to love without possession. When you meet your twin flame again, that lesson resurfaces, playing out through circumstances that seem eerily familiar. You attract similar conflicts, similar dynamics, because the universe is offering a second chance to master what you couldn't before. And until that lesson is integrated, the cycle continues. Different faces, different settings, but the same energy repeating. This is why twin flame relationships are so intense. They aren't here to make you comfortable. They're here to make you conscious. 10. The timeless connection. Finally, the clearest sign of all. No matter how much time passes, no matter the distance, the love remains. Even if years go by without contact, a single moment can reignite the bond as if no time has passed at all. You can't unlove your twin flame, because what you feel isn't dependent on form, or proximity, or romance. It's recognition at the level of the soul. Love that transcends lifetimes doesn't fade, simply evolves. You may not end up together in the physical realm this time, but that doesn't mean the connection is broken. It means the lesson is complete for now, and somewhere in another reality, your souls are still walking hand in hand, fulfilling the promises made long ago. Music swells. Strings and wind instruments weaving together like intertwined destinies. So, if you've ever felt this kind of love, one that defies explanation, logic, or distance, know that you are remembering, not imagining. Every heartbeat you've ever shared, every tear, every reunion, has led to this moment of awakening, because you are not starting a new story. You are continuing one that has no end. Soft pause, the voice drops to a whisper. And perhaps when you met them this time, your soul whispered quietly, "Ah, there you are. Part 4. The soul doesn't just love, it learns. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives, the journey that spans lifetimes. They say love is the greatest teacher of all. But what if love, especially the kind that tears us open, is not only meant to make us feel, but to make us evolve? Because the soul doesn't just love, it learns. When we meet our twin flame, it's rarely at the perfect time, in the perfect setting, under perfect circumstances. It's almost always when our lives are trembling, when something within us is ready to awaken. And that's not coincidence. That's divine timing. Because the twin flame connection is not here to give you comfort. It's here to give you consciousness, to remind you of what you've forgotten, to bring to the surface everything you've buried. The soul contract. Before we are born, our souls make agreements, sacred pacts written in the language of energy. They're called soul contracts. You and your twin flame sign one long before you ever took a breath in this lifetime. A promise that sounds something like this. I will meet you again when the time is right. I will mirror your light in your darkness. I will challenge you to remember who you are. This is not a punishment. It's a divine act of love. Because your twin flame is not here to complete you. They're here to reveal you. They hold up a mirror so perfect, so brutally honest, that you can no longer look away from the parts of yourself that crave healing. The mirror effect. You see, twin flames don't meet by chance. They meet when the soul is ready to confront its own shadow. The love between them acts as a mirror, showing each what still lives unhealed within. That's why it feels like heaven one moment and chaos the next. Because your twin flame will reflect both your beauty and your brokenness. Every fear, every wound, every unresolved emotion, suddenly illuminated under the light of connection. It's as if your soul says, look, this is where you still bleed. This is what still needs love. At first you might think they're the problem, that they trigger you, that they hurt you, that they're the reason for the storm. But the truth is, they're the mirror of the storm already within you. If you fear abandonment, they might leave. If you fear rejection, they might pull away. If you struggle with self-worth, they might seem unreachable, forcing you to turn inward and find that worth within yourself. They don't create the wound, they expose it. Because you cannot heal what you refuse to see. The karmic thread. Every twin flame bond carries a karmic thread, a line of energy that stretches across lifetimes, woven with every promise, every betrayal, every act of love. Karma is not punishment. It is simply unfinished energy seeking resolution. If in a past life, you abandoned your twin flame, you may meet again now to learn forgiveness, to understand what it feels like to be on both sides of the same experience. If you once silenced your truth, you might meet them now to learn to speak it, even if it means losing them in the process. Because every encounter with your twin flame is a divine classroom, and every lesson learned brings both souls closer to freedom, the runner and the chaser. One of the most painful dynamics in twin flame connections is the runner and chaser phase. One runs, afraid of the intensity. The other chases, desperate for union. But beneath that push and pull lies a single lesson: balance. The runner is not rejecting you. They're running from themselves. They are not yet ready to face the reflection you hold. And the chaser is not wrong for pursuing, but their lesson is to release attachment, to understand that love doesn't require control. When the chaser learns surrender, and the runner learns courage, the energies align, and the dance of polarity becomes a dance of harmony. This is the soul's way of teaching unconditional love, because only when love stops needing to possess does it become truly divine. Your twin flame is not here to stay or to go. They're here to awaken. And awakening is rarely gentle. The pain is the portal. Every tear, every silence, every heartbreak is a doorway. It's not there to destroy you. It's there to open you. When your twin flame leaves, it's not rejection. It's redirection. A call from your soul saying, turn inward. The love you seek in them already lives within you. That's the paradox of the twin flame journey. You think you're searching for them, but in truth you're remembering yourself. They are the spark that ignites your inner transformation. Without the intensity, you might have never awakened. The lesson of reflection. Love with a twin flame is never about ownership. It's about reflection. When you see them, you're seeing you. The divine, the wounded, the infinite. The more you resist the reflection, the more painful it becomes. The more you accept it, the more peaceful you feel. Every trigger is an invitation. Every argument, every silence, every goodbye. A coded message from your higher self. Learn this now, and you won't need to repeat it again. From attachment to awakening. As your consciousness grows, love begins to change shape. At first, it's romantic, passionate, possessive, full of desire. But as you evolve, love becomes expansive. A quiet recognition of unity beyond form. You realize that your twin flame doesn't belong to you. They are you. Two currents of the same ocean, meeting for a moment, teaching each other how to flow without resistance. When you understand this, you stop needing them to stay. You simply honor their presence, whether near or far, because their energy lives within your every heartbeat. The higher perspective. From the human view, separation feels like loss. But from the soul's view, it's strategy. The universe knows exactly what must happen for both souls to grow. Sometimes that means walking together. Other times it means walking apart, so that each can find their own strength before merging again. The twin flame path is not about romance. It's about remembrance. And the moment you remember that you are already whole, the entire dynamic shifts. The chase ends. The pain softens. The energy harmonizes. Because when you no longer seek completion outside yourself, the universe no longer needs to mirror your separation back to you. Music grows softer, gentle strings, the feeling of sunrise. So if you're in that stage right now, if you're hurting, questioning, doubting, pause, breathe, and remember, you are not being punished. You are being purified. Your twin flame didn't enter your life to save you. They entered to awaken the light already within you. The storms you face together are not signs of failure. They are signs of transformation. And every tear you shed waters the seed of wisdom that your soul planted long ago. Long pause, a single piano note lingers. Because the soul doesn't just love, it learns. And sometimes the greatest lessons come disguised as heartbreak. But once the lesson is understood, pain transforms into peace. And love, pure unconditional love, remains. Music swells, celestial tones, the sound of wind passing through eternity. So, when you think of your twin flame, don't ask, why did they hurt me? Ask instead, what is my soul trying to teach me through this? Because in that question lies your freedom. And in that freedom you finally understand. This love was never about two people finding each other. It was about one soul remembering itself. Part 5, Unfinished Lessons. How the past repeats until you heal it. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives, the journey that spans lifetimes. There are moments in love when you ask yourself, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I always attract the same kind of pain? Different faces, different stories, but the same ending again and again. That is not coincidence. That is repetition, not of failure, but of unfinished lessons. The soul carries memory like a thread of light, weaving through every incarnation. Every joy, every sorrow, every promise, and every wound becomes energy, and energy cannot disappear. If something remains unresolved, it travels with you, hidden deep within the vibration of your being. And when the time is right, the universe brings that same pattern back into your life. Not to punish you, but to offer you the chance to finally heal it. When you meet your twin flame, those ancient energies awaken. They rise like waves from the depths of memory. Emotions you can't explain. Fears that feel too heavy for one lifetime. Love that feels too vast for one heart. It's because you've felt it all before. You just don't remember when. The echo of repetition. Imagine this. In one lifetime you loved deeply but you couldn't stay. In another, you chose duty over love and spent your years wondering what if. And in another you betrayed the one who trusted you most, and carried that guilt across centuries. Those stories don't vanish. They echo. They echo through your habits, through your triggers, through the people you attract. Until one day you meet your twin flame, and suddenly those echoes become thunder. They are not new wounds. They are old ones that have finally found a voice. Patterns that return. If you've ever felt stuck in a loop with your twin, falling into the same arguments, the same push and pull, the same heartbreak, it's because you're replaying an energetic pattern from a past life. Maybe one of you was always the giver, and the other the receiver. Maybe one always chased while the other ran. Maybe one feared loss, while the other feared being trapped. Those roles repeat until both souls choose balance. The universe doesn't let you graduate until you've learned the lesson. And the tests will keep coming with different faces, different circumstances, until you respond differently. That's how you know you've healed. The emotional mirror. Twin flame relationships are emotional mirrors. They show you exactly where your energy is still divided, where you love with fear instead of faith, where you cling instead of trust, where you sacrifice your truth to avoid being left behind. Every trigger, every tear, every misunderstanding is not proof that the connection is toxic. It's proof that it's sacred. Because no one else can touch the hidden wounds your twin flame reveals. No one else can awaken the lessons your soul has been avoiding. They are not here to hurt you. They are here to remind you where you still hurt yourself. The illusion of punishment. It's easy to believe that you're cursed, that the universe is cruel, that you're destined for heartbreak. But look deeper. The universe doesn't punish. It repeats. It repeats what you refuse to feel. It repeats what you run away from. It repeats until you finally choose to heal. You see, patterns persist not because you deserve pain, but because your soul desires freedom. And freedom only comes when the lesson is complete. Recognizing the lesson. The question then becomes, how do you know what the lesson is? Start by noticing the emotion that keeps returning. Is it fear of abandonment? Is it jealousy? Is it the need to control? Is it the belief that love must be earned through suffering? Whatever emotion repeats is the one asking to be healed. And your twin flame will bring it to the surface with precision. Not out of cruelty, but because your souls agreed to help each other. Remember what unconditional love truly feels like. Remember what it means to love without pain. The paradox of pain. Pain in a twin flame connection is not a punishment. It's a signal. It points toward the wound that needs light. When your twin triggers you, pause. Instead of asking, why are they doing this to me? Ask, what inside me is being shown right now? Because in that awareness lies liberation. The more conscious you become of your patterns, the less control they have over you. And the moment you stop reacting from pain, the pattern begins to dissolve. Reincarnation and completion. In every lifetime, souls choose the lessons they want to master. Sometimes the same lesson takes many lives to complete. For twin flames, these lessons often revolve around love, trust, forgiveness, and surrender. You might have failed to forgive them before. You might have left them without closure. You might have sworn you'd never love again. And now, the universe has brought you back together. Not to repeat the mistake, but to transcend it. Completion doesn't always mean reunion. Sometimes it means understanding. Sometimes it means release. The healing of recognition. When you finally see the pattern for what it is, something inside you softens. You stop blaming. You stop chasing. You stop fighting what is. And in that moment of surrender, you shift timelines. The energy of centuries begins to unravel. The karmic knot that once bound you starts to loosen. Until love, pure and unconditional, is all that remains. Because healing is not about erasing the past. It's about integrating it. You take the lesson, you thank the pain, and you let the rest go. The soul's graduation. The moment you stop repeating the pattern, the cycle ends. The universe no longer needs to send you the same experience, because you've mastered it. That's soul graduation. That's freedom. You may notice that things start to shift. Effortlessly. Your twin might return or they might not. But the energy between you becomes peaceful. There's no longer fear. No longer grasping. Just calm recognition of divine timing. And that's when love can truly flow. Without distortion, without dependency, without fear. The music grows brighter now. A soft string section joins the piano, carrying a sense of hope. Because the truth is, life doesn't punish repetition. Life invites you to awaken within it. Every repeated pattern is not a circle. It's a spiral. You're not going backward. You're rising higher. are one spiral closer to wholeness. Music softens, the narrator's voice becomes calm, compassionate. So, if you find yourself in the same pain again, don't despair. You're not failing. You're remembering. Remembering what you once avoided. Remembering that love is not meant to wound, but to awaken. Remembering that every ending is simply the universe saying, try again. This time, simply be truth. Music swells. A slow crescendo of piano and violin, the feeling of sunrise after centuries of night. Because when you heal, you don't just heal this lifetime. You heal every version of you that ever lived the same pain. And that is the true miracle of the twin flame connection. Not that it lasts forever, but that it transforms everything it touches. The past repeats until you remember. But once you do, it no longer needs to. Part 6: Regression and Past Life Healing. Accessing the soul's memory to release old energy. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives. The subconscious whispers fragments of your soul's history. When you feel unexplainable fear around love, or tears fall without reason, it's the soul reminding you of something unfinished. That's where past life regression begins. Not as a mystical performance, but as a sacred remembering. Regression is not about curiosity, it's about liberation. It allows you to access the deeper. PLR is a gentle process, a journey inward, guided by the voice of a healer or through deep meditation. It's not hypnosis in the cinematic sense. You don't lose control. You don't forget who you are. Instead, your awareness expands. Your conscious mind softens. And your intuitive mind, the mind of the soul, begins to speak. Images may arise. A landscape. A face. A scent. A sound. A feeling that pulls you toward a story you didn't know you carried. You might see yourself as someone else. Another gender, another age, another time. And yet, you feel yourself in that person. Completely. This is not imagination. It's energetic memory. The emotional data your soul stored for future understanding. The moment of recognition. Many people describe their first regression as a wave of remembering. Not shocking but strangely comforting. Like finally finding the missing piece of a puzzle you didn't know existed. You might see your twin flame in that memory. Not always as a lover. Sometimes as a parent, a friend, a teacher, or even an enemy. And in that moment, everything begins to make sense. The emotions you felt in this life, the intensity, the longing, the pain, suddenly find their origin. You realize, this is not just about us now. This is about what we began long ago. A glimpse into a past life. Imagine lying in a deep state of calm. Your breath slows. The world fades away. And then images begin to form. You see yourself standing on a cobblestone street under a golden sky. Your clothes are unfamiliar. But your hands, your heartbeat, they feel like yours. Across the street you see a face. Their eyes meet yours and suddenly your heart aches with recognition. You know them. You always have. In that life, perhaps you were lovers separated by war. Perhaps you promised to find each other again. And now, in this lifetime, you finally did. To heal the grief that separation left behind. You weep not from sadness but from remembrance. Because deep down your soul whispers, "Ah, this is why I've always loved you beyond reason." The healing power of regression. When you recall these memories, something extraordinary happens. The energy that was once trapped in time begins to move again. It's as if emotion frozen in another century is finally given permission to flow, to release, to transform. You may feel warmth in your body, or a sudden lightness in your chest. You may cry or laugh without knowing why. That's energy shifting. Lifetimes of suppressed emotion dissolving in a single breath. Regression allows you to reclaim lost parts of yourself. Pieces of your soul that fragmented during trauma, waiting patiently for you to remember them. And with that remembrance comes wholeness, the twin flame connection through regression. When you and your twin flame share lifetimes, your energy intertwines across dimensions. Regression can reveal the moments your souls agreed to meet again, the vows, the separations, the sacrifices. Some people recall lifetimes where they harmed their twin out of fear or pride. Others remember lifetimes of waiting, watching their twin leave and never return. These memories explain the magnetic pull, and the fear that coexist in the present. You are not crazy. You are remembering. The purpose is not to dwell on those lifetimes, but to heal them. You don't need to relive the pain. You only need to witness it with compassion. Because the moment you forgive that version of yourself, and forgive them too, the karmic thread begins to dissolve. How to begin the healing? You don't need to travel to a monastery or hire a mystic. You can begin with something simple: awareness. Find a quiet space. Close your eyes. Place a hand on your heart, another on your stomach. Breathe slowly. Whisper softly, "If there is a memory I'm ready to see, show me now." Not to relive it, but to release it. Then, allow whatever comes. It might be an image. It might be a single emotion. It might be silence. And that silence itself is healing. You don't force it. You don't judge it. You simply observe. The soul reveals only what you're ready to integrate. No sooner, no later. Energetic release. After regression, whether guided or spontaneous, it's common to feel a deep stillness. Sometimes, you'll feel tired, as if you've traveled through centuries because you have. Other times you'll feel light, as if 1,000 invisible weights have lifted. That's because you've finally stopped carrying stories that were never meant to define you. Every tear shed is an energy untied. Every memory acknowledged is a key turned in a locked door. And as the energy of the past releases, your connection with your twin flame shifts too. It becomes gentler, calmer, less desperate, because you are no longer reacting from old wounds. You are responding from wisdom. A story of liberation. One woman once described her regression this way. She saw herself as a healer in ancient Greece, tending to the wounds of soldiers. One man, her twin flame, returned to her each night for healing. They fell in love, but one night he never came back. He died in battle, and she spent the rest of that life waiting, blaming herself for not being able to save him. In this life, she met him again. Same eyes, same soul. And every time he walked away, she felt that same helplessness rise inside her. Through regression, she understood. It was not about saving him this time. It was about forgiving herself. And once she did, their energy shifted. The fear dissolved, and what remained was pure love. Free, unconditional, timeless. Why regression is not about escaping reality. It's important to remember. Regression is not meant to keep you living in the past. It's to free you from it. You don't go back to escape. You go back to understand. Because when you understand, the pattern no longer needs to repeat. You stop attracting pain disguised as love. You start living with awareness, compassion, and peace. Your past lives are not prisons. They are teachers. And through remembering, you graduate from their lessons. Music becomes lighter, like sunrise through fog. So if your heart carries a sadness that words can't explain, if your love feels both ancient and new, perhaps your soul is inviting you to remember. Not through the mind, but through the heart. Past life regression is not about knowing who you were. It's about realizing who you've always been. A soul that keeps choosing love, over and over again, until love becomes your only truth. Music swells, the narrator's voice softens to a whisper. You are not haunted by your past. You are being called to heal it. And when you do, the energy that once bound you becomes the light that guides you home. Because in the end, every memory, every lifetime, is leading you back to one truth. You are eternal, and love is the only thing that ever remains. Part 7: Releasing Old Energy. The Art of Letting Go and Forgiving Through the Soul. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives, the journey that spans lifetimes. There comes a moment on every soul journey when love is no longer about holding on, but about letting go. Letting go of the story, letting go of the pain, letting go of the version of yourself that still believes you must suffer to prove your love. It's not the end. It's the unbinding, the sacred return of your energy back to peace. Because to let go is not to stop loving. It is to love without chains. The weight you don't realize you're carrying. Old energy lives in more than your memories. It lingers in your body, in the tension of your shoulders, the heaviness in your chest, the way your breath catches when you think of them. It lives in your habits, in the way you Replay conversations that never found closure. In the way you wake at 3 a.m., wondering if they still think of you. You call it love. But often, it's the residue of emotion left unspoken. It's energy still waiting to be released. And the universe will keep showing you where that energy hides, until you set it free. Why releasing is sacred. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means you stop dragging the past into your present vibration. When you release, you unhook your soul from the old story. You stop replaying scenes that no longer serve your evolution. In energetic terms, forgiveness and release are not emotional gestures. They are vibrational cleansings. They raise your frequency so your energy can flow again. Uninterrupted, unburdened, alive. Because the truth is simple. What you refuse to release, you relive. But what you forgive, you transcend. The myth of closure. We are taught that closure comes from another person, that they must apologize, explain, or return our love for us to be at peace. But souls do not operate that way. They don't wait for permission to heal. Closure comes from understanding, not from outcome. Comes when you can look at the past and say, yes, it hurt, but it taught me. You don't need their words. You don't even need their presence. Because the one who truly needs your forgiveness is yourself. Forgive yourself for the times you ignored your intuition. Forgive yourself for staying too long. Forgive yourself for not knowing better because you were still learning. And in that forgiveness, the old energy begins to dissolve like mist under sunlight. Energetic cords and release. When two souls share deep love, they exchange energy. These exchanges create energetic cords, lines of vibration that link heart to heart, chakra to chakra. When the relationship becomes unbalanced, those cords can turn heavy, pulling your energy back into past pain. Releasing doesn't mean cutting the cord completely. It means purifying it, allowing only unconditional love to remain. A simple way to begin. Sit in stillness. Visualize the person before you, not their body but their light. See golden threads connecting your heart to theirs. Whisper, I release you with love. I free you to follow your own path. And I reclaim my energy to live fully in the present. Imagine those threads transforming into light. No longer cords of attachment, but bridges of pure love that no longer pull, only bless. You may feel warmth, tears, or even silence. All signs that the energy is shifting. The ritual of the letter. Words carry vibration. Writing is one of the most powerful tools for energetic release. Take a piece of paper and write a letter to your twin flame. But this time not from your pain. Write from your soul. Tell them everything you never said. Thank them for every lesson. Forgive them for every wound. Ask for forgiveness too for the times you hurt them unknowingly. And when you finish, don't send it. Read it out loud to the universe. Then burn it safely. Watching the smoke rise like prayers returning to the divine. As the paper turns to ash, imagine the old energy turning to light. The contract fulfilled. The karmic debt cleared. It's not an ending. It's a homecoming. The role of emotion in release. Many people try to heal by suppressing emotion, by saying I'm fine, when the heart is still bleeding. But healing is not silence. Healing is expression. You must let the body speak the language the mind cannot. Cry. Scream into a pillow. Dance until the grief melts into movement. Write, paint, sing. Whatever form your emotion takes, let it live. Because emotion is energy in motion. When it moves, it releases. When it's repressed, it rots. Your tears are sacred. Each one carries a memory leaving your system. Each one creates space for new light to enter. The gift of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not approval. It is freedom. When you forgive, you are not saying, what you did was okay. You are saying, I no longer choose to carry this pain inside me. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It reclaims your power from it. Because as long as you hold resentment, the person who hurt you still lives in your energy. Forgiveness severs that bond. It is not weakness. It is mastery. The soul that can forgive is the soul that remembers its own eternity. The frequency shift. Something miraculous happens. After deep release, you wake up one day and notice the ache is gone. You remember their name, but it no longer burns. You see their face, and your heart smiles softly instead of breaking. That is freedom. That is the vibration of neutrality, the sign that your energy has returned to harmony. You no longer seek closure because you are closure. You no longer crave reunion because you have reunited within yourself. And when you reach that vibration, your twin flame connection transforms. If it's meant to return, it will. But from love, not from need. If not, it will dissolve in peace, leaving you lighter, wiser, and whole. A guided visualization for release. Close your eyes. Imagine standing in a field at dusk. The air is warm, the sky painted in gold and violet. Before you stands your twin flame, the soul who has walked through lifetimes with you. There is no anger here, no longing, only stillness. You look into their eyes and whisper, "Thank you for every lifetime. Thank you for every lesson. I release you with love, so both our souls may be free to grow." Then as you breathe out, see a bright golden light expanding from your heart, wrapping both of you in warmth and grace. When the light fades, they step back, and you realize they were never leaving. They were simply merging back into your soul's peace. Music grows lighter. Gentle strings and soft bells like sunrise through mist. Letting go doesn't mean erasing love. It means refining it until it becomes pure enough to exist without attachment, without fear, without time. You will still feel them sometimes. In a song, in a dream, in a heartbeat, but it will no longer hurt. It will remind you of how far you've come, from suffering to surrender, from holding to healing, because the art of letting go is the highest expression of love. It's the soul saying, "I trust the divine plan more than my desire. I honor your path as much as my own. I know that separation does not mean loss. It means transformation." The music swells, ethereal and bright like dawn. So tonight, if you still feel the weight of what once was, sit beneath the sky and whisper softly, "I forgive. I release. I am free." And as you do, the universe listens. The energy shifts. The story changes. Because every time one soul forgives, the entire collective becomes lighter. And perhaps that's the truest purpose of all twin flame connections. Not just to love each other, but to learn how to love everything through the power of release. Part 8: Integrating Ancient Wisdom. Using past life knowledge to heal the present. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives, the journey that spans lifetimes. There comes a moment after awakening, after remembering, after releasing, when silence arrives. Not emptiness, not loss, but silence, a stillness filled with presence. It is here that integration begins. Because remembering who you were in other lifetimes means nothing if you cannot embody that wisdom in this one. Awakening is not about escaping the human experience. It's about enhancing it, bringing heaven into your everyday moments, turning old pain into living compassion. This is how the soul evolves, not by remembering the past, but by transforming the present through the wisdom of remembrance. The purpose of remembering. When you access a past life, it's not for nostalgia or fascination. You don't go back to collect stories. You go back to collect lessons. The visions you receive, the emotions that rise, are not random fragments. They're blueprints, energetic instructions for your healing now. Perhaps you remembered a life as a warrior, and now your soul asks you to lay down your sword. Perhaps you saw yourself as a healer who once burned for her truth, and now your soul asks you to speak again, this time without fear. Integration means taking the wisdom from then and weaving it into the choices you make now. Living from the soul's memory. The soul's memory is not a story. It's a vibration. It lives in your intuition, in your instincts, in your spontaneous knowing. Have you ever met someone and instantly trusted them? Or walked into a place and felt as if you'd been there before? That's your soul whispering, "I've walked this path once and I remember." How? The goal is not to cling to that memory, but to let it guide your actions with grace. If you learned courage in another life, express it here. If you learned forgiveness long ago, practice it again, consciously, even when it hurts. Every lesson learned becomes a spiritual muscle, and integration is the act of using that strength. The twin flame connection and ancient wisdom. When you and your twin flame reunite, You don't just merge two people. You merge centuries of soul evolution. Each of you carries different aspects of your shared wisdom. One may hold the knowledge of patience, the other the art of trust. One may embody intuition, the other grounded presence. Together, you complete the circle, but only when both are willing to bring their ancient lessons into the now. Otherwise, the past becomes a weight, not a teacher. Integration in the twin flame journey means living as conscious souls in human form. It means choosing differently this time, choosing love over fear, peace over drama, truth over silence. Every time you act with awareness, you break centuries of old patterns. You may not see the ripple, but the universe feels it. And your lineage, both physical and spiritual, breathes a little lighter because of it. Bridging the two worlds. Many people who awaken to past life knowledge struggle with balance. They become attached to the mystical, forgetting that the divine also lives in the mundane. But wisdom means walking in both worlds, with one foot in the spiritual, and one firmly grounded in the human. The dishes, the deadlines, the morning light. These two are sacred, because the soul doesn't evolve in temples or monasteries alone. It evolves in kitchens, in heartbreaks, in conversations, in choices. Your past life wisdom is meant to be embodied, to turn spirituality into action, to love more gently, listen more deeply, and walk through the world as a living reminder of grace. Signs you are integrating successfully. Integration doesn't arrive as fireworks or revelations. It shows up quietly, in the way your energy moves differently through life. You begin to respond, instead of react. You notice the old patterns arise, but instead of falling back into them, you breathe. You choose peace. You no longer chase closure. You create it within. You no longer fight your emotions, you listen to them. You no longer look for your twin to heal you. You become your own source of light. That is integration. Not the knowledge of who you were, but the embodiment of who you are becoming. The three pillars of integration. To live from your soul's wisdom, three forces must merge. Awareness, embodiment, and application. Awareness, knowing what lesson your soul has carried forward. Maybe you see it in your dreams, your triggers, or your desires. Awareness brings light to the story. Embodiment, allowing that lesson to shape your energy. You no longer talk about forgiveness, you become forgiveness. You no longer seek love, you radiate it. Application, turning that embodiment into conscious action. Choosing words that heal. Responding with compassion. Using your wisdom to serve not only your connection, but the collective energy of all. Because wisdom not shared is wisdom wasted. The body is the bridge. Your body is not separate from your spirit. It is the vessel through which integration happens. Every cell in your body carries memory. When you meditate, breathe, move, or create, you give that memory a new pattern to follow. That's why physical practices, yoga, dance, walking barefoot, or even mindful breathing, help anchor the soul's wisdom into the present dimension. The energy of forgiveness, peace, and clarity needs grounding to stay. Otherwise it floats, beautiful but unreachable. So honor your body. Feed it, rest it, move it. It is the sacred temple where all your lifetimes meet. From past lessons to present purpose. Once you begin to live from integration, you realize that your purpose is not something you must find. It is something you remember. The healer who once worked with herbs now becomes a therapist who heals through words. The artist who painted in silence now becomes a creator who inspires millions. The teacher who once guided a small village now speaks to the world through love and truth. Your talents are not new. They are ancient gifts resurfaced for this era. And your twin flame journey amplifies them. Because through the friction of this connection, your soul is pushed to remember everything it has ever been capable of. Integration is the alchemy of memory into mission. Meditative reflection, bringing the past into the now. Find it. Quiet place. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Imagine a circle of light beneath your feet. This life, this moment. Above you, see countless stars, each one representing a lifetime you've lived. As you breathe in, light descends from the stars, flowing through your crown into your heart. You feel wisdom, ancient, gentle, familiar, filling every cell. Whisper softly to yourself, all that I have ever been, I bring into this moment. I carry the lessons, not the pain. I live as the healed, not the wounded. I integrate the love that never died. Now open your eyes. You are not just a person living a life. You are a soul fulfilling lifetimes of promise. Here now, the ripple of collective healing. Integration doesn't only transform you, it transforms the world. Every time you break a pattern, you free your ancestral and soul line from repetition. Every act of forgiveness ripples through generations, both past and future. Your twin flame connection is not isolated. It's part of a much larger network of healing. When you integrate the wisdom of your past lives, you become a living portal of peace for the collective. Your energy teaches others. Without words, your calm presence becomes medicine for the world. That is how soul missions unfold, not through grand gestures, but through quiet transformation lived every day. The music swells. Slightly soft strings like morning light stretching across an ancient landscape. Integration is the point where remembrance becomes creation, where the old story no longer defines you, but refines you. You no longer ask, why did this happen to me? You whisper, thank you. It happened for me. And through that gratitude, you unlock the power to shape your future consciously, not as a victim of karma, but as a master of energy. Music fades to a golden hum. The voice softens to a whisper. So remember, your soul didn't come to this lifetime to repeat what it already knew. Came to embody it, to turn wisdom into action, memory into love, and love into light. And every time you live from that truth, you honor every version of yourself that ever dreamed of this. Freedom. Part 9, Love Beyond Time. The Soul Mission of Twin Flames and Collective Ascension. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives, the journey that spans lifetimes. Love was never meant to end with two people. It was meant to ripple outward, to become the light that touches everything. Because twin flame love is not personal. It is planetary. It exists not just to reunite two souls, but to remind the world of what unity truly feels like. This connection, raw, intense, sometimes chaotic, is not a romance. It's a revolution. A silent awakening disguised as a love story. The bigger picture of twin flame love. Every time two twin flames awaken, they send a vibration into the collective grid of consciousness. A signal that says, remember, love still exists. This vibration travels through energy fields, through human hearts, through the invisible threads connecting all life. And each time another soul feels that resonance, a spark of remembrance ignites within them too. That's how consciousness rises, not through preaching or power, but through love experienced and embodied. Twin flames are not chosen because they are better. They are chosen because they are ready to walk through the fire of ego and come out luminous, ready to become conduits of unconditional love in a world that forgot how to love. The cosmic design. From a soul perspective, the universe is an orchestra. Every soul is a note, vibrating, resonating, contributing to the grand melody. Twin flames are like tuning forks in this symphony. When they awaken, they recalibrate frequencies, not just within themselves but in those around them. That's why people feel different in their presence. Calmer, lighter, more open. Because their energy harmonizes everything it touches. It's not that they try to heal others. It's that their vibration is the healing. The love between twin flames becomes a frequency of remembrance. Remembrance of unity, compassion, and divine connection. And as more pairs awaken, the collective song of earth shifts from fear to love, from separation to harmony, pain as a portal for collective healing. But let's be honest, the twin flame journey is not easy. It strips you bare, challenges every illusion, forces you to face your deepest shadows. Yet this is exactly why it's sacred. Because as you heal your own wounds, you also heal fragments of the human collective. Your abandonment wound echoes through generations. Your forgiveness releases ancestral patterns. Your surrender dissolves centuries of control and fear. Every tear you shed becomes light for someone else. Every breakthrough you experience creates a vibrational pathway for others to follow. This is the hidden mission behind twin flame unions. To cleanse not just personal karma, but collective karma. You are not only healing your love story, you are helping the world remember how to love again. The union of divine masculine and divine feminine. At the core of every twin flame journey is the reunion of the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. These energies are not about gender. They are universal forces that exist within all creation. The divine masculine is consciousness, structure, direction, and action. The divine feminine is energy, intuition, creativity, and flow. For millennia, these energies have been out of balance. Humanity has lived in separation, mind over heart, control over connection. Twin flames incarnate to restore that balance. Through their love, they mirror this sacred harmony back to the world. The masculine learns to feel again. The feminine learns to trust again. Together, they embody the dance of unity. A dance that radiates far beyond the personal. When one twin awakens, the other begins to rise too. When they both surrender to love instead of fear, their union becomes a lighthouse, a beacon for the collective ascension of consciousness, the ripple of energy. Imagine this: two souls meeting after lifetimes apart. They awaken love so powerful, it cannot be contained. That energy spills outward into their families, their friends, their communities. People around them begin to soften. Conversations change. Compassion spreads. No one can explain why, but the world feels a little kinder, a little more open, a little more human. That is the ripple of twin flame energy. You don't have to preach it. You just have to be it. The frequency of love is contagious. And when you live in that vibration, you unconsciously awaken it in others. From personal union to planetary purpose. When two twin flames reach energetic union, not necessarily physical but spiritual, they anchor divine light on earth. This is called planetary service, where the purpose of love expands from me and you to we and all. Every act of kindness you offer, every word spoken from compassion, every creation born from your healed energy, becomes part of the collective ascension process. You become a channel of divine intelligence, a living bridge between heaven and earth. That is the true union. Not two bodies coming together, but two souls merging into service for something greater. Collective ascension and the new earth. As more souls awaken through love, the vibration of the planet itself shifts. We are moving from an era of separation to an era of unity, from survival to creation, from control to cooperation. This is not fantasy. It is physics. Frequency responding to frequency. Every heart that heals contributes to the electromagnetic harmony of the earth. Every conscious act of love rewires the collective field. And in time, this creates what many call the new earth. A world guided not by fear, but by awareness, empathy, and truth. Twin flames are architects of that new reality. Their connection is the prototype of divine partnership. One based not on possession but on presence. Not on need but on knowing. They show humanity what love looks like when it is aligned with soul instead of ego. Anchoring light. In daily life, you might wonder, what can I do for the world? The answer is simple. Heal yourself. Live your truth. Love consciously. You don't need to stand on a stage. You don't need to be famous or extraordinary. You only need to be authentic. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you anchor light. Every time you forgive instead of resent, you transmute darkness. Every time you love, without expectation, you expand the frequency of the planet. That is how the collective shifts. Not through grand revolutions, but through millions of quiet hearts awakening one by one. The eternal mission. The twin flame mission doesn't end with union. It evolves. As you and your counterpart heal, you begin to serve together, consciously or unconsciously, as conduits for divine energy. Your words carry resonance. Your actions ripple with impact. Your very existence becomes prayer. You are no longer just two people in love. You are two aspects of the divine remembering self through love. And this remembrance doesn't fade when the physical story changes. Even if you part ways, the energy of your connection continues to work through the collective field. That's why the bond never truly ends, because its purpose is larger than both of you. A meditation for global love. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Imagine your heart as a radiant sun. Every breath you take expands its golden light outward. Now imagine your twin flame wherever they are. Their heart glowing too, beating in rhythm with yours. As your lights merge, see that energy expand, spreading across cities, oceans, mountains, touching every soul still searching for love. Whisper softly, may all beings remember the love they truly are. May every heart be free. That is the essence of your mission. That is what twin flame love truly does. It awakens the world one heartbeat at a time. The music swells into a crescendo, voices hum in harmony, like a choir of souls united. You are not here by accident. You didn't meet by chance. Your love, your pain, your healing, your growth are all threads in the great tapestry of awakening. Every time you rise, the world rises with you. So when you doubt the meaning of your journey, remember this. Your love is not just for you. It is for the universe itself. Because divine love is never wasted. It is recycled endlessly through creation, turning wounds into wisdom and endings into beginnings. The sound fades to a warm, steady heartbeat. Love is eternal. It moves through lifetimes, through bodies, through galaxies. And when two twin flames remember this truth, when they stop asking, will we end up together? And start asking, how can our love serve? That is when ascension truly begins. Part 10: The Eternal Flame. A closing message of hope, unity, and transformation. From the series, Twin Flame and Past Lives, a journey that spans lifetimes. There are moments in every journey when words become too small for what the soul feels. Moments when silence holds more truth than sound. When love expands beyond form, and time ceases to matter. This is where the story of twin flames always leads. To the stillness beyond seeking, the peace beyond longing, the love beyond love, the eternal nature of the flame. What you share with your twin flame did not begin in this lifetime, and it will not end in this one. You have met 1,000 times before. Under stars, under storms, under different names and bodies. Sometimes as lovers, sometimes as enemies, always as mirrors. Each meeting was a spark, each separation a crucible, and through the fire of lifetimes, the same truth remained. The flame never died, because real love, is not something you find, it is what you are. When your soul split into two, it was not division, it was expansion. Two aspects of one consciousness, sent into the world to learn the art of unity. You have chased, fought, surrendered, forgiven, not to find each other again, but to remember the wholeness that never left. That is the secret of the twin flame journey. You were never incomplete. You were always entire. You simply needed the mirror of another soul to see your own divinity reflected back at you. The return home, the reunion everyone longs for, is not physical. It is energetic. It is the merging of frequencies that once danced in different rhythms, and now move as one. You'll know this moment, not by fireworks, but by peace. It's the day you wake up and realize you no longer need to know where they are. You no longer feel that aching absence, because their energy lives in you, in your heartbeat, your breath, your stillness. That is home, not a place, not a person, a vibration. The twin journey always begins with fire. The burning of ego, the intensity of passion, the rawness of awakening. But it ends with water, the calm of surrender, the softness of grace. Fire teaches you truth. Water teaches you peace. And together they create balance. The alchemy of transformation. You are both the fire and the water, the student and the teacher, the lover and the beloved. You are both halves of the same eternal flame, and the flame itself, the transformation of love. In the beginning, you loved them because they completed you. In the end, you love them because they are you. The need becomes neutrality. The longing becomes light. The pain becomes purpose. What once felt like breaking was actually becoming. And what you thought was the end of love was the beginning of everything love truly means. Love that does not cling, but allows. Love that does not demand, but trusts. Love that does not end, because it has transcended form. This is unconditional love, not a fantasy, but a frequency, the light you leave behind. Every twin flame who reaches this state of peace leaves behind an energetic imprint, a template for others to follow. The vibration of healed love travels. It moves through the collective like wind carrying seeds. You might never know whose heart it touches, but somewhere, someone will wake up tomorrow and choose love instead of fear because of the light you released. That is your true legacy, not the story of your union, but the energy of your evolution. You are not only lovers of each other, you are guardians of light, architects of a new consciousness, a message from the soul. If your heart still aches for them, if your path still feels uncertain, close your eyes and listen. Listen not with your ears, but with your essence. Somewhere deep within, a voice whispers, the same voice that guided you through lifetimes. You have done well. You have remembered what love truly is. You have released what no longer serves. You have become light again. The soul does not measure success in outcomes. It measures evolution in awareness. If you love more freely than you once did, if you understand more deeply than you once could, you have succeeded. Union in every breath. Union is not a date on a calendar. It's a state of consciousness. It's the moment you realize you don't need them beside you to feel whole. You already are whole. And through that wholeness, you feel them everywhere. You feel them in the sunlight through your window, in the laughter of a child, in the quiet between heartbeats. Because love this vast cannot be contained in two bodies. It must live in everything. That is the secret of ascension. When love becomes universal, union becomes inevitable. The gift of awareness. Awareness is the final key. When you see every person as a mirror, every moment as sacred, every wound as wisdom, then you have truly awakened. Your twin flame may have been the catalyst, but now the entire world becomes your reflection. You begin to love the stranger as yourself, to forgive without condition, to move through life as a living prayer. This is the purpose of all twin journeys, to become the embodiment of divine love, so that the world may remember what divinity feels like in human form. The eternal flame. The eternal flame is not a metaphor. It is literal, a frequency of divine consciousness that never flickers. Every time you love, you feed that flame. Every time you forgive, you strengthen it. Every time you choose peace, you keep it burning. And even when bodies fade, when centuries pass, when stars themselves dissolve, the flame remains, because the flame is you. It is the memory of oneness, the breath of creation, the essence of eternity itself. A final meditation. Returning to the light. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Imagine yourself standing in a vast expanse of golden light. You feel calm, weightless, whole. Ahead of you a figure appears. Your twin flame. They are luminous, smiling, peaceful. There is no need to speak. You understand everything in silence. You walk toward each other. Your lights merge, spinning together in a dance older than time. As your energies blend, you feel yourself expand, not into two, but into all. You are the flame. You are the universe. You are everything that has ever loved and been loved. Stay here for a moment. Breathe it in. This is home. Now bring that light back with you. Let it live in your eyes, your hands, your words. Let every step you take become a blessing, because you are no longer searching. You are remembering. And in that remembrance, you are free. Music swells, choirs of light, celestial and warm. Then silence. A deep, infinite silence. Love is not the destination. It is the path. And every soul you touch along the way is another spark returning to the fire. So carry the flame. Guard it gently. Share it freely. Because this is how the universe remembers itself. Through you. Through love. Through the eternal light that never dies. Part